that has been filed in response to a default that was entered in this case. It is a motion to void the default judgment for lack of jurisdiction. That motion, as I said, has been filed by the defendant, Mr. Soloway. And with us today, we have Mr. Soloway. Is that you? Are you with us?
That's me.
All right. And who's here on behalf of plaintiff, sir? I can't read your name. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Alexander Sarnh.
All right, sir. I will go ahead and first hear any argument from you, Mr. Soloway. I did read the motion and the response that was filed by the plaintiff's attorney.
Yeah, I have not yet had a chance to read their response. However, you could read that to me.
Well, it's several pages, so I'm not going to do that. It also includes numerous exhibits, and it was served on December 30th. A copy was mailed to you at two different addresses, Lund Road in Fife Lake, and also Walls, Mississippi, 38680. So if you have any response, sir, I'd be glad to hear it.
Well, certainly. I'm not a resident of the state of Michigan, and I'm not a resident of Grand Traverse County. Lund Road is not located in Grand Traverse County, and so I don't know how it is that Grand Traverse County has any jurisdiction over someone from Mississippi, let alone somebody who's not from Grand Traverse County.
Now, you were served originally in this case back in November of 2024. A Stacy Sicario indicated that she served you on October 13th, my apologies, of 2024 in Fife Lake. Are you indicating that you were not served?
No, I was served. I'm in the middle of a divorce, but Lund Road isn't in Grand Traverse County. It never has been. Even though it may be a Fife Lake address, Lund Road is not in Grand Traverse County. So Grand Traverse County has no jurisdiction.
All right. Let me go ahead and hear from the plaintiff with regard to same. As to the objection that's been filed, I suppose it's a motion from the defendant, number one, and then as to the jurisdictional question that's been raised.
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant was personally served twice in the previous matter that was filed, as well as the current matter. The defendant was served, as you indicated, at the Fife Lake address. We did file a postal check, which we've included in our exhibits, that showed that there was no change of address on file, which is a requisite of a court in securing a defendant's domicile. As such, defendant was personally served, like I said, twice. That is the jurisdiction that we have in terms of where the complaint needed to be filed based on the amount in controversy. Furthermore, the defendant was served personally, acknowledges service, despite where he may or may not be living. And lastly, the default was entered for purposes of not responding or filing, I should say, a pretrial statement by the cutoff date provided by the court, not pertaining to jurisdiction. Defendant should have been required to file the pretrial statement nonetheless, as he was personally served.
All right, just a moment.
Same thing. In that case, I responded that the Grand Traverse County has no jurisdiction. So they have no jurisdiction over somebody that's not living within their county. You know, it'd be no different than if he were to file it in Wayne County and saying, you know what, a 68-year-old guy was born in Ford Hospital, so that must give them jurisdiction.
Can you hear me, sir, or are you just ignoring me? All right.
Nope.
Please hold on for a moment. Let me review the complaint, and I'll be right back with you. Just a moment. All right. The question that's been raised is first a motion.
In this case, defendant Mr. Soloway uses sovereign citizen arguments to deny the court's jurisdiction over him. The judge postpones the hearing to check if his address is actually outside Grand Traverse County. A surprising twist that changes everything.
From the defendant with regard to the default judgment. The default judgment was entered in this case in December 5th of 2024. The defendant who was served, and I believe did answer on November 1st of 2024, did not respond otherwise to the requirements that he provide a pretrial statement, but did in his original response indicate that the court has no jurisdiction. He has continued with that defense here today. This court is aware, as the plaintiff's counsel may not be because he's from out of town, that Fife Lake is actually on the border of Wexford County and Grand Traverse County. There are Fife Lake addresses which may well be in Wexford County, and there is, I think, a question then that ought to be resolved with regard to residence. If the defendant is indicating that he is not a resident of Grand Traverse County, then I think the defendant has a jurisdictional issue that needs to be resolved. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask, I'll set this matter over for a 1 month period. We'll retake it up at my next civil day in February, or one of my civil days in February. In that period, I would like counsel for the plaintiff to examine the question of whether or not the address at which defendant was served is in fact a Grand Traverse County address or an address as apparently the defendant believes in Wexford County. If it is a Wexford County address, then I think the plaintiff needs to evaluate whether he intends to proceed with this judgment. Again, the claim is one relating to a debt that may be, it looks like related to a card or something like that. So it's not a question of the debt, but rather a question of enforcement and whether or not a Grand Traverse County court has jurisdiction over a resident of Wexford County who was served apparently in that county, rather than the matter being brought in Wexford County. Counsel for a plaintiff, is there anything that you'd like to add before I reset this matter?
No, Your Honor, I would just like to point out, just for purposes of the record in this matter, since the defendant was personally served, of course, we will do our due diligence per your order, but at that later date, we may then request and file the appropriate motion for possibly a change of venue if necessary.
All right, very good. We'll see you all then in a month, and let's make sure we've got a good address for you, Mr. Soloway. Are you using this road address now?
Actually, I'm traveling, so I will have to get a hold of you and give you an address. Like I said, I'm in the middle of a divorce, so I may be in Georgia or I may be in Florida, so I'll have to notify the court where to send it.
All right, it's important that you do that, and also notify the attorney for the plaintiff. We want to make sure that you're able to appear at the next hearing. Do you understand?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, very good. Okay, thanks everyone. We'll see you in about a month.
Thank you.
Thank you.